My name is Anthony John Masala. Anthony John Masala. Of course, I have got a cultural name. In the next few years, I think I will transition to that.
Okay.
I was given Chiripo at birth, so my name is Chiripo. But later on, with this Christian thing, I was renamed as Anthony.
Okay.
You understand
With
that
this
distinction?
colonial thing, you're renamed.
Exactly. Yes, I'm a lecturer at Evangelical Bible College of Malawi. I'm the head of extension programs. I'm a pastor. My research interest basically is contextual theologies within systematic theology. That is, yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then over to you, Reverend Solomon. Is it Reverend Solomon? Who just joined us? Welcome. We're doing introductions, so if you can just say your name, your research interests, and maybe the organization you're part of, or you teach, or whatever ministry that it is that you do.
He's muted.
Are you there? You're muted, yeah.
Muted, yeah.
If you can unmute Reverend Solomon. I think he's having trouble because he's left the meeting. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, what our gathering is about is the launch of the book Theologies of Mindset Change, that is made up of essays, presentations that were presented last year at the National Theological Conference in Zomba at Zomba Theological University. And that book is edited by myself, Nze Dr. Hewan Ngula, and Professor Kenneth R. Ross. It's a TSM publications book, and it's our tradition. Every year when we have our National Theological Conference, we always end up with a peer-reviewed collection of the presentations, and we usually launch it at the next National Theological Conference. And so the next National Theological Conference is going to be happening in Lilongwe, at the Baptist Theological Seminary in Falls Estate. And that's going to be on the 17th and the 18th, which is Tuesday and a Wednesday. And we usually set aside the Wednesday, some hours on Wednesday morning for the launch of the book. And then we have our AGM. And so this new book that's going to be available from next week, I think, or actually this week, from I think on Friday we should have the book and ready for launching on or ready for sale actually on the Wednesday, 18th of September. Has about seven authors or 7 chapters, and one of those chapters is one by Dr. Phoebe Chifungo, who is a lecturer at University of Livingstonia in Zuzu at the Ekwendeni campus. And Reverend Chifungo was a 4th-year student when I was a 1st-year student, and pretty much laughed at me as I became a student of theology. Yeah, and so it's a pleasure and an honor to have you, Dr. Chifungo, to present your very interesting chapter for us. Yeah, and please go ahead and share any other introductory remarks I may have missed out, especially in terms of your research interests and maybe whatever work that you're doing or any work that you're doing right now. And then you have 20 minutes to present your paper, and then we'll go into a time of question and answers. Over to you, Dr. Chifungo.
Okay, thank you very much, Felix. As you have already said, I'm Phoebe Chifungo, lecturer at the University of Livingstonia. I'm also the coordinator of gender for the whole university. My main research areas are mainly the issue of gender, but also religion and culture, and finally, theology and development. Those are my research areas, which I really like. So I think, can I go ahead now?
Yes, please go ahead. And if you can move a little closer to the device, because when you move a little bit away, your volume goes low. Yes.
Let me switch off the camera so that maybe we can have a clear understanding.
Okay.
Are you able to hear me now clearly?
Yes, very clearly.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this afternoon or evening, I want to share with you the chapter on feminist theology and sustainable development. We are living in the days, that's part of my introduction, that we are living in the days whereby each and every African is talking about Agenda 2063. This is African Union 2063 agenda, but each country has decentralized it according to their context. Malawi is not left behind, and its motto is a self-reliant and inclusively wealthy nation by 2063. A nation that is prosperous and peaceful. A nation that emanates from sustainable and people-driven development, good governance, and the respect of human rights and justice. Unfortunately, or fortunately, this can only be realized through a mindset change. Now, some of the areas which cause for a mindset change is the perception of feminism and the clear understanding of sustainable development. Let me start by explaining what feminism is all about and some misconception, and thereafter we'll look into sustainable development. According to Kick and Margot, they have defined feminism as the liberation of women and girls from discrimination based on gender. While Clifford assessed that feminism is a social vision rooted in women's experience of sexually based discrimination and oppression, a movement seeking the liberation of women from all forms of sexism. And finally, Coons says that feminism is a coordinated set of ideas and a practical plan of action rooted in women's critical awareness of how a culture controlled in meaning and action by men for their own advantage oppress women. So that's just a little bit of the definitions of what feminism is all about. Now, after looking at those definitions, there's still some misunderstanding of feminism. And some of this misunderstanding, according to Hobbes and Rice, they say that masses of people think that feminism is always and only about women seeking to be equal to men. And the majority of them think feminism is anti-male. They continue to say that some assume that feminism is not real, but just a propaganda. And to this, Margot argues that feminist inquiry, analysis, and activism have risen from real problems experienced by real women from well-researched inequalities and discrimination. Still, further some that feminism is concerned with some women issues. But they also argue that feminism also looks into other areas. Feminism also talks about ecology. They also look into issues of environment, ethical issues, political science, psychology, and sociology. Feminism is concerned with thinking critically about the world in all its complexity. So those are some of the misconceptions and how some other people have argued against such type of misconceptions. Now let us see what is mainly the main agenda of feminist theology. The main agenda of feminist theology, according to Clifford, is to put forward constructive alternatives that draw attention to liberating elements that have been ignored or overlooked. Feminism seeks not only to liberate women from oppression and discrimination, but also to be of benefit to men in their pursuit of holiness, because the humanity of men is also diminished in a society that tolerates violence and discrimination directed to their mothers, wives, daughters, female friends, and colleagues. One believes that all men are dehumanized in a society in which abusive and oppressive behaviors towards women are tolerated, not just those men who engage in such behaviors. The main agenda is not to have privileged women over men, but to have power to transform in a meaningful way of all our lives. Therefore, defining feminism as a movement to end sex oppression is very crucial for the development of the country because it is a starting point indicating the direction of exploration and analysis. Kik and Margot believe that in order to create a secure and sustainable future for everyone, we have to work towards ending systems of inequality, since the issue of absence of equality is the key of entering into genuine community. It is for this reason that Hobbes and Rice affirm that feminism is about progressive and making your life better. They believe that feminism not only allows you to see your shortfalls, but it also offers ways to make you feel good about yourself and to have self-respect. After looking at feminism, let me a little bit talk about the Malawi Agenda 2063, because it goes hand in hand with the sustainable development. Malawi is part of the AU's Agenda 2063. The Malawi government has fully committed itself to implementing the African Union's Development Agenda 2063 as one way of realizing inclusive growth and sustainable development in the country. It was originally initiated in 2021, and it is an official document and the roadmap by the Malawi government that details exactly how Malawi would become a self-reliant nation. Agenda 2063 is a strategic framework for the socio-economic transformation of the continent over the next 50 years. It builds on and seeks to accelerate the implementation of past and existing continental initiatives for growth and sustainable development. Part of the document declares that we as Malawians desire and resolve to be an inclusively wealthy and self-reliant, industrialized upper middle income country by the year 2063, so we can fund our development needs primarily by ourselves. It continues to say that we shall achieve this vision through collective effort and shall not allow any state or non-state actor to derail us. It is within the same vein that Mr. Pashalo Kayuni, the government chief state advocate, said that inasmuch as it is government's responsibility to implement the Agenda 2063, but there is need for a joint effort from all of us Malawians because the government cannot successfully implement it alone. It is therefore from within this context that feminism has a very vital role to play. Let us now go to the mindset. As stated earlier on, that the fulfillment of the Malawi Agenda 2063 and its motto is mainly based on the mindset change. It is therefore very critical to first of all define what mindset is all about, and thereafter we have to see the areas which demands mindset change. Ozone defines mindset as a person's established rules, attitudes, and worldviews. It is what supports sound decision-making and determines a point of view. As such, positive mindset allows one to step outside his or her comfort and navigate challenging situations, whereas negative mindset is pessimistic. They feed on self-doubt and negative thoughts. It is for this reason that sustainable development can only take place when one's mindset has positively changed. Cherry is of the view that mindset is a set of beliefs that shape how you make sense of the world and yourself. It influences how you think, how you feel, and behave in any given situation. It means that what you believe about yourself impacts your success or failures. Therefore, one's belief plays a pivotal role in what you want to achieve. As such, your mindset plays a significant role in determining achievement and success. There are some who have fixed mindset, whose abilities are fixed and therefore cannot be changed, while some have growth mindset, whose abilities and talents can be developed over time through effort and persistence. It is for these people with growth mindset that are capable of sustainable development because they are in a position to change some of their belief systems, which are stumbling blocks and hindrances. After looking at that, let us now go to sustainable development. United Nations General Assembly defined sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It aims at maintaining economic advancement and progress while protecting the long-term value of the environment. It provides a framework for the integration of environment policies and development strategies. The overall goal of sustainable development is the long-term stability of the economy and environment. This is only achievable through the integration and acknowledgement of economic, environmental, and social concerns throughout the decision-making process. Where development is sustainable, everyone has access to decent work, quality health care, and education. Therefore, public policies ensure that no one is left behind due to disadvantages or discrimination. Now, let us combine the mindset change and sustainable development. Sustainable development will only be achieved after the mindset of people have been changed. And some of the areas that need to be changed are as follows. The first area which needs mindset change is sexism. According to Bokin, sexism is a system of advantages that serves to privilege men, subordinate women, enforce male dominance and control, and reinforce norms of masculinity that are dehumanizing and damaging to women. Now, referring to the above definition, sexism has therefore to be disregarded at all costs because it is an enemy of sustainable development, and even Malawi Agenda 2063. And it is one of the main causes of poverty here in Malawi. With sexism, sustainable development is impossible because women spend much of their adult lives pregnant, nursing infants, raising children, while men is trained to be aggressive leaders and productive. Due to sexism, women, although they represent a numerical majority in the society, still they are regarded a minority group because they are victims of discrimination on many fronts and have unequal access to valued resources. Even on religious matters, regardless of the fact that women attend religious services more often, hold female religious beliefs, pray more often, and are more active in church programs, but still their traditional doctrines ascribe inferior status to them. The second area which needs mindset change is handouts. Sustainable development calls for visionary and transformative leaders that upholds and encourages hard work, self-reliance, prosperity, patriotism, time management, and disregards handouts, which has in most cases resulted to laziness. Zastro believes that anti-poverty programs in our societies have actually made the poor worse off by creating dependency. Handouts or dependency syndrome robs one of his or her critical thinking and decision-making. Religious and government leaders should therefore work hand in hand in fighting against this handout system. Prosperity gospel should therefore be condemned by all means. Instead, the message of hardworking, integrity, and self-sustenance should be encouraged, because making a decision on someone's behalf and doing everything for them is self-defeating and and it leads to increased dependency rather than self-reliance and self-sufficiency. Sustainable development is only for those who are able to refrain from handouts. The third area which needs mindset change is human rights, social justice, and human dignity. Zastrow has defined human rights as an unalienable fundamental rights which a person is inherently entitled simply because he or she is a human being. Human rights are universal. As such, everyone has inherent dignity which is to be respected. Everyone is unique in a variety of ways, like value systems, personal goals in life, financial resources, emotional and physical strength, self-identity, etc. And these attributes are very essential when it comes to sustainable development. Shortage or absence of these attributes automatically leads to a dependent nation, which is against the Malawi Agenda 2063. Therefore, for the Malawi Agenda 2063 to be realized, focus should be on empowering those who are marginalized and helpless by helping them believe that the ability to change lies within themselves. Because empowered women are the ones who have been trained to control their environments in order to get what they need. Ben and Cooper defines empowerment as acquiring knowledge, skills, and resources that enhance an individual's ability to control her or his own life and to influence others. Sustainable development is something which concerns the interests of both men and women. Unfortunately, sustainability programmers have a tendency to be gender blind and work primarily with men. A crucial aspect of the idea of feminism and sustainable development is the concept that poor mindsets affects different parts of the world and different individuals in different ways. But it would entail more negative effects and more prominent challenges for the most vulnerable groups in society, and particularly marginalized women. Therefore, we consider mindset change and sustainable development that it is vital that we take into account the individual aspects of the billions of women who are affected because of this. Sustainable development can only be realized by including both women and men in decision-making. Otherwise, the Malawi Agenda 2063 will remain a dream. In conclusion, sustainable development is something which concerns the interests of both men and women. Unfortunately, sustainable programmers have a tendency to be gender blind and work primarily with men. A crucial aspect of the idea of feminism and sustainable development is the concept that poor mindset affects different parts of the world and different individuals in different ways. But it would entail more negative effects and more prominent challenges for the most vulnerable groups, especially women. Therefore, when we consider mindset change and sustainable development, it is vital that we take into account the individual aspects of the billions of women who are affected by this. Sustainable development can only be realized by including both women and men in decision-making. Otherwise, the Malawi Agenda 2063 will not be fulfilled. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chifungo. Can we give her a clap? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yes, we'll proceed now to the Q&A questions. And maybe we can take 3 questions, and then we can give her the time to answer. So I see a hand up from first of all from Spiro and Suku, and then Mr. Jidiga. Right, and then we'll and then we'll have somebody, third person, ask. Please go ahead. Go ahead, Spirit.
Hello, good afternoon. Sorry, my hands
Afternoon.
Yeah, my hand up was just to appraise the work that has been done. It is really
great.
beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Gidiga? Godfrey, I think you raised your hand. Do you still have a question? You are muted. Okay, then let's go to Hastings.
Yeah, thank you very much. Also, mine, first of all, is to appreciate the good work by Dr. Chifungo. Keep it up.
Great. I'm sorry, Hastings, if you are able to, can you put on your camera? If you're able to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, that's okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'm saying I would like, first of all, to appreciate the good work that Dr. Chifungo is doing and she has put forward. This is a milestone and it's good. I just need, maybe it's not a question, but it's like, indeed, when people are talking about feminism, there's a lot of misconceptions, but maybe an understanding in a fair play. Do you think the oppression only comes from men? Haven't you seen that also women can also oppress fellow women? The reason I'm asking this, I also have like an experience in, especially in church setting, where like in the South, we allow women to be ordained. I have seen that sometimes women in the church don't clap hands fully to a woman pastor, as opposed to the same women of clapping hands to a man, to a pastor who is a fellow man. And I see this very common. They are very common. Even when people are opposing, the same women would not be happy to hear about a fellow woman if in case there's a scandal about sex. They would want maybe a brutal way of addressing that. But when it happens to men, sometimes these people are lenient. The women are lenient to say, anyway, a man can fall short of that. They would want to discuss and maybe not just coming up to a gang up. Don't you see that there was no opposition coming from the fellow women?
Can I take it up?
Thank you.
Yes, please. And if you can lean closer to your device, so you can be louder, Dr. Chifungo.
Okay. Am I louder now?
Yes, you are louder. And it would be nice if you had your photo there, your image, your video.
Okay. Thank
Yes,
you,
thank you.
Hastings, for your question. You are right that oppression does not only come from men, it also comes from women, 100% right. But on the other hand, I can't really blame women for oppressing their fellow women. Somehow I blame them, somehow I don't blame them. Let me take you to a little bit the issue of culture. You know, we women have been brought up in a culture whereby, you know, you talked about the issue of women pastor, whereby when they have a woman pastor, they're not really excited the way they are excited when it is a man pastor. You know, this comes from the way back, our background. You know, we are coming from the background whereby our culture, we have been trained, we have grown up seeing men taking leadership roles. Now, whenever a woman comes up and takes up leadership role, it is like a surprise because it is not in our blood. Not only women, but also even men, and not only men, but even women ourselves. It is not in our blood because growing up, starting from our families, going to our institutions, and now at working places, we have seen men taking leadership roles. Now, when a woman comes up and say, I am a leader, I am a pastor, somehow it becomes very strange. So understand us, there's still a lot of work and it needs a lot of encouragement. you men have got a lot of work to encourage us women so that we can come out of that culture. So understand that it is culture. It is not, it won't be an automatic thing. You really have to push us hard. Even ourselves, if you say you become a leader, I will resist because I'm not used to seeing women becoming leaders. So if I'm to answer you, that is it. Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Doctor. I got the answer. I think you also have energized me or Mel on this platform that maybe issues concerning about gender where women are oppressed should not only come from women. I think women should also write such things so that we can work back to back to deal with this culture. Thank you. That was my contribution.
Exactly. And you really need to take a leading role.
Well, thank you so much for that question. And I think Hope has got something in the chat. Maybe, do you just want to say it out, Hope? Let me start with Hope and then we'll go to Dr. Kapoma. Okay, let me just read out Hope's, but it's an incomplete question somewhat. Are you there, Hope?
Yes, sorry, I was failing to connect here.
Okay, oh good. Now, then go ahead and ask.
Yeah, of course, my question was on the theories that may be, there's a lot of maybe Western theoretical understanding on feminism. So my question is, how does that maybe reflect African understanding of feminism, and how does it maybe how can it translate to applicable theories which can really help to enhance a mindset change? So the second one is on in the interest of maybe a sustainable environment. What I've seen maybe in our article, in our presentation, is that she did not really expand on indigenous knowledge, which maybe we use as Africans. We want our own culture and also how we can maybe relate with other people. So how can we maybe adapt such kind of African philosophies to enhance the kind of mindset change rather than relying on such kind of theory? Thank you.
Okay, is that it, Hope? More?
Yes, that's all. Maybe I think
Okay.
I got the question. Yeah.
I think Felix, we have
Dr. Chifungo,
to... No, I didn't get. He's not clear. He's not clear.
Okay. The first than them that are Western feminist theoreticians, and he was wondering if you have any indigenous or more of contextual African feminists in your discussion. And then number two, he was talking about indigenous knowledges. Maybe Hope you can say it better than me. You just asked that question yourself.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that if we are to lean more towards the Western theories, maybe on feminism and other, some can really think that we are participating maybe colonization, or maybe we are being westernized in a way. So we have African theories, or maybe we have African thinking can also be used to address that kind of problem regarding mindset.
That was the first one, right? And then you had another one, or it's related?
Okay, Felix.
Okay, good. Okay.
I don't know if I got him right, but I think let me start with the first one. He says, was mainly based on the Western theory. Do we have any African theory? I don't think that they are very different, because to me, when all those theories, to me, it was more like a reflection of African theories, because even here in Africa, I am a lecturer who teaches gender, I teach feminism, and the first question I ask my student is, okay, what comes into your mind when you hear the term gender or feminism? And then they tell me, you women, you want to take over men. You want to take our powers. So I haven't seen something different from the Western, because even these Africans, that's their perception. You hear the term feminism, you think women, they want to take over. Women, they want at least to be seen. I don't know if you have got another different view apart from this. Maybe I can hear from you, being a man. How do you perceive feminism? Okay, so I've posed that question. Let me hear from you, an African man. But the students whom so far I have interacted with, they think women, they want to take over powers from them. And they are so protective because they don't want to release these powers from themselves. Secondly, you talked about indigenous knowledge. I think that's a good area which you have noted. Unfortunately, I have already written, so that can be another thought that as I will be writing further, I can capture that and include it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Is that okay, I hope?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I think I'm hearing Hope also saying that perhaps you may want to bring in the other, those circle of African women theologians, yeah, that kind of thing. But let's go to Dr. Kapuma. You had raised your hand, and if you're free to go ahead and ask a question. Then after that, we'll go to Reverend Masala. Dr. Kapuma, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
If possible, yes, we can. If possible, if you can put on your camera, if it is possible.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, it's a feminist day. We'll allow that.
All, I had two comments that I wanted to make. The first one was a follow-up on what Dr. Chifungo had said, talking about that exploitation or whatever is for both men and women, and that men experience such exactly like women experience. But I think the difference is that men don't talk about it. They tend to keep all their experiences, unlike women, where they have talked about it. And that's why there are so many people talking about the imbalances that are there between men and women. Secondly, she also was commenting on how that people say that women don't support women. Yes, in practice, you will find that women don't support women. But what women do is they take the information that have been fed by their husbands to go and do that. If there is an election, they'll tell, don't go and choose that person. So women go there not only on their own, but they go there bearing in mind with the men they have behind and do likewise. The last comment is that of indigenous theories. I think the African women theologians, like what you have said, Felix, has so much of the indigenous theories, talking about the theories that we do and the theories that people can understand. The African women theologians not only running away, but wanting people to understand that when they are talking about their theologies or they are talking about feminism, it's not like what Phoebe has said, that women want to fight with the men or women want to be on top of everything. No, but it's an affirmative action where men and women, God has given them different gifts, and putting them together, working together in solidarity and affirming each other, they can achieve so many things. So those are the theories that the African women theologians, the SECO, is doing, and the theories are there, the indigenous theories are there. I just wanted to comment and add on those two areas. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. We have another hand up. We'll go to Anthony Masala, and then we'll go to Shingarai Loga.
Felix.
Yes.
Maybe before they come in, I just wanted to make a little, maybe I didn't hear well what Gertrude said. On the issue of women wanting to be like men, it wasn't me saying, it is a misconception that people have. So it's not me that saying that women want to be like men.
No, I didn't say it was you. It's the misconception.
Okay, thanks. Okay, go ahead, Felix.
Okay, great. So let's go to, and welcome to those of you that are joining us a bit late. You're not very late. You get the same reward as those that started at the very beginning. Welcome. So let's go back to Reverend Masala. I think you had a hand up.
Yes, thank you so much, Doctor. Let me begin by appreciating Dr. Chifungo for a well-researched paper. So many talking points to take away. Thank you so much. God bless you. I've got two questions. Number one is I understand the issue of feminism. One of the challenges or one of the root causes of negative perceptions towards women. You've highlighted that it is sexism. I'm just wondering, coming from a church background, where is the problem of sin coming in this whole dynamic? Does it have any influence into all these dynamics? And number two, having highlighted the issues within the Agenda 2063, there are so many cross-cutting issues. I'm just wondering if you've done any appraisal of the Agenda 2063 and see just to ascertain to what extent the Agenda 2063 has taken on board the issues to do with women empowerment. And if the agenda isn't sufficiently addressing issues to do with women empowerment, and what recommendations are you making to ensure mindset change at that level? Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Chifungo, go ahead and answer that one. Then we'll go to the next.
I think I missed the first question on sexism. What is the next question?
The question basically is that I acknowledge that sexism is an issue, and it big time informs the perceptions towards women. I was just wondering, what place does the problem of sin have in all this dynamic? I didn't hear much on that. As somebody coming from a church background, the sin issue, does it have any influence around these sexist issues?
Sorry, when you say sin issue, you are referring to Adam and Eve?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Genesis 3.
Okay, so the question is?
What is the place of problem of sin in all this dynamic where men look down on women, all this sexist dynamic, where women kind of like inform the social structures as to how this you think, how is that you do that stuff. Yeah. Basically, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. I think the first question I needed more time to answer.
Yeah.
But for the second question, you're talking about 2063. And
Yes.
the agenda, is it being fulfilled or it's not? And my recommendation. So far,
Yeah. To what extent is it addressing issues of women empowerment? And if it is not sufficiently doing that, what recommendations are you making to address that shortfall?
okay. As far as Malawi is concerned at the moment, I can say that Malawi is at least doing better.
Okay.
Looking at the positions which women are holding, okay, you can see that the one, when you go to parliament, the one is the lady, and then when you go to the current one connected to elections, the leader is also a lady, and we have had so far the lady president. So I think a little bit Malawi is doing, we're doing much better, but we are not yet there. Now on the recommendation of mindset change, what I can say is that we should start with a girl child, because if a girl child is not empowered culturally, because it starts from the culture. When a baby girl is born, what we feed her, what we tell her, and she grows up with that mindset. So if we can start from way back home, not only the issue of government, but we as parents, culturally, what is it that we advise our girl child? Do we empower her? Do we let her to look forward that she can do greater things, apart from just looking forward to getting married? So if we start right away from there, I think it will not be a problem, because a girl child will grow up that she wants to become a leader. And for her to become a leader, there are some elements which she has to put into effect. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on now. I think there was a hand up, Bashingrai Oga. And then we'll go to Fred. Let's go to Shingrai first. Shingrai, you're there. He'd raised his hand earlier. Shingrai, do you still have your question? Okay, then let's go to Fred.
I think he's muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, okay, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Right. Okay, thank you for the nice presentation. I have two questions, although I joined the meeting in the middle of the session. I have two questions. The first question is, in the secular world, there's a concept that the future is female. So my question is that, how do you balance up that concept that the future is female and your concept on the feminism as a theologian? Because when they are saying that the future is female, indeed what they are saying is that one day this world, women will be found in power controlling all men. So that is my question. How do you balance up that concept that the future is female? The second one, you presented that sometimes women, you just take from what your husbands are telling you. For example, who to vote for in an election. I also wanted to find out what is your take, considering that indeed men impose conditions or decisions on women, but how do you balance up with the issues of human rights in that paper? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. You have said that in secular, there's that concept that the future is female. And how do I balance that? And you even talked about when you say that future is female, you mean that female or women will control all male. To me, that is a wrong theology. We have to balance. And it's my first time to see that, to hear that. But the way I understand feminism, or the way I understand gender, it's not about superiority. It's about sharing powers. It's about human dignity. Men have to know that even women are created in the image of God. The same way, women have to acknowledge that men are created in the image of God. So it's not about fighting or who has got more power and who has got less power. So as far as I'm concerned, that concept of future is female, to me, I don't believe in that. I believe in equality, that both men and women are created in the image of God. Therefore, they should have that equality in terms of sharing resources, in terms of decision making. It's not about someone being superior and the other one being inferior. So I don't believe in that. I believe in balancing and understanding what the Bible is all about. Secondly, on the issue of, in fact, what you have said is it's not me, but still I will answer. It was Gertrude who said that, saying that it is women, men who tell the women what to do. In terms of human right, that's a violation, because women are created in the image of God. And as such, they've got the right to make their own decision, which they think it is right. It is not okay for somebody else, like a man, to dictate on a woman as if she doesn't have that critical thinking. So to me, that is very bad. Okay, thank you.
Great, great.
Hello, Dr. Nika, can I comment?
Yes, please. And actually, I was about to say that after Fred, I'd love to leave the space more for women, because I'm being feminist, very feminist today. So please go ahead, Dr. Moy.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Chifungo, and everyone who has spoken. I joined late, but I just wanted to comment on the future is female, or sometimes it's said the future is feminist. And it as Dr. Chifungo has said, this concept, even though you've not heard about it, it's not a concept that says matriarchy takes over from patriarchy. It's a concept that says that in the future will be, for the future to be successful, that if we are really dreaming of, for example, the 2063 goal that we want a nation that is inclusively, it's inclusive and it's self-sustaining, then we cannot continuously service hierarchies that are exclusive, that we cannot continuously have systems that are based on privileging some and denying the contributive power of the rest of community. So actually it's a concept that was developed with the understanding that actually matriarchy cannot be uplifted as an alternative to patriarchy, but rather that we should have a world where whether you are a woman, whether you are a man, it should not matter. What should matter is that each person should be given that room to reach their highest potential and to make a contribution. It's a concept that actually acknowledges that every human being has something to contribute to a community for it to be functional and for it to be really viable. And in theological terms, we can say for abundance of life, the fullness of life, to be an experienced reality in a community, every person should be part of the decision-making table at different levels, and every gift and ability should be given the opportunity to contribute to the goodness of the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And like I said, I'd like to give a little bit more space to the women theologians on this forum. Please feel free, even now, if you have a contribution. And then I'll move to Fred, the man who has a contribution or a question to make.
Thank you, Doctor, for recognizing me. And thank you, Dr. Chifungo, as well. Mine is a question. I joined a little bit late because I had some other things on my plate, which I needed to have worked on. But I've got two questions that I think are very much more contemporary. Recently, we have had issues related to feminism, and whereby people are not really able to, we cannot really define who women are. For instance, we were watching Olympic Games, and one of the issues that emerged was that there were biological men who are taking on, we call them transgenders, and they're taking on the female identity, and probably even contesting in female-dominated sports. Considering this position with what we need to do as Christians in order to encourage our women, to advocate for the rights of our women, what should be our position? Where should we really draw a line? Should we regard all of them as female, or should there be a line? How do we define female in the context of feminism that has been advocated so far? Secondly, there have been an argument that when you look at the roles and the motive of feminism, it is usually pushing for women to assume those roles that are only visible, when instead of maybe I would say you'd find that men are working across different responsibilities. Maybe they would work as laborers on the ground, but much of what feminism pushes for is, you'd find that it's only pushing for those roles that are visible. How should we balance this issue? Should we say feminism is there to encourage women to work to assume responsibilities that men are able to do, both those that are visible, both that are hard, and those that are even regarded as less economically, not less empowering, economically empowering. So that's one of the issues that I've been struggling over the issue of feminism. However, I totally agree with the idea that that we as ministers of the gospel and as theologians as well, we should be there advocating for the rights of women. One thing that I've always also argued is that when we argue from the point of assuming that women are trying to assume a position that is particularly maybe equal to men, I think then we are starting from a wrong position. We should have assumed that man or a woman is already created as a dignified human being, and then from there, I think we should have been looking at how we should balance the issue of human rights. But trying to take women as if we are trying to give them a platform to be equal as men, usually creates, I think, some sort of problems, because men really would assume their role and their position has been usurped. Another question that I wanted to also
look, I'm sorry, Fred.
Yep.
I'm giving you a minute, right? I'm giving you a minute because of time. So if you can just get to the point of the question.
The final one is the issue maybe of blaming culture, blaming patriarchy. Could we really say that that's the main issue in as far as gender is concerned, or it's a matter of biological? It's a biological issue.
Okay, Dr. Chifungo, please go ahead and answer.
Okay, I hope I have understood all his questions. I think Mene has got 3 questions. The first one was talking about the definition of women. What is the definition of women? And then he talked about transgender. Okay, to me, in short, I can just say, let the Bible define who a woman is. I think the Bible is clear who a woman is and who a man is. So as far as a Christian is concerned, let the Bible define. Otherwise, the issues of transgender, that's too personal, of which I think each one of you has got his or her own. As for me, I just take it as a confusion, and spiritually, they need deliverance. And then on the issue of roles, you are saying that why women are fighting for the roles which are visible and not invisible. Oh, what I can say is that I think that is a wrong perception which you have, Fred. The way I look at it, I don't think that women are fighting for roles that are visible. On the other hand, women are always working, and if you will agree with me that from maybe 5 a.m. up to maybe 10 p.m., women are working. Unfortunately, people have decided not to acknowledge the work of men. That's why maybe you have got the perception that they are fighting for the visible work. Women are already working. All what we are talking about is equality, like what my sister, I think, Message talked about. We are talking about decision making. You are going to find out a good example is in the church. Women are in the majority, okay? But when it comes to decision making positions, where do they go? You're going to find out that they are going to men and not women, those who are in majority. So just go back to your table and make sure that equality is there. As long as we have got women who are capable of taking up leadership roles, let them take it up. It's not about being visible or invisible. It's about sharing equally and putting women even in decision-making positions. The final one, you're saying that I'm blaming cash and patriarchal. You think, isn't this biological? I say, I think I repeat, it can be both, but to me it is cultural. You are also 100% sure how patriarchal systems have discriminated and oppressed women. That's a straightforward, and I don't know why you are running away from it. Fred, you have to know that this is more of patriarchal and a culture which empowers man or empowers men and disregards women. It is not of biological. If there is that percentage of biological, then it is very minimal, but more of it is culture. The moment that culture and the patriarchal system changes, things will come back to normal. And the Agenda 2063 is going to be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chifungo. We don't have that much time, and I see hands that are raised. And I'd like to ask that you just get straight to the question. And so the next hand that is up is from Garnet Kawombe. And so I'm giving you a minute to ask your question. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you for allowing me to ask a question. Thank you for a good presentation, Dr. Chifungo. Yeah, mine is a question related to gender, where some people are saying gender is a social construct, meaning each society is each society should construct its own meaning about gender. So in other words, there is no universal definition of gender. Of course, partly the issue has been tackled when you were answering Fred's question. But
so you have 30 seconds to ask a question.
So now what I'm interested, because to say I take the definition of the Bible, I think it's not enough, because different people argue from different positions, but all of them, they point to the scripture, thinking that the scripture supports their views. So I think to me it's not enough to say I take the definition of the Bible. So may you clarify on that, and may you also clarify on the meaning of gender in relation to what other people say that is a social construct. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Guinness. I think
Dr. Chifungo, let me intervene a little bit. Yeah, I also gave you 2 minutes to answer. And for those of you that were not early in the program, she actually did mention the definition of gender, the way that she's using it in the paper. But please do go ahead. You have 2 minutes. We have another hand up, so I'm trying to rush this.
Okay, I think in short, maybe Guinness, you're confusing between gender and sex. I was referring to the Bible in terms of sex, not gender. Gender is universal, but sex is not universal. So I think you have confused between the two. When we are talking about the Bible, I'm referring to sex. And the sex is fixed, it can't change. While gender, it changes according to the culture. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to Kumbo Olen. Again, I give you exactly 1 minute. In fact, let me say 30 seconds so that you can get to the point. Hello, Kumbo Olen, are you there? Okay, then let's move on to Dr. Moyo.
Yeah, just to strengthen what Dr. Chifungo has said, it's very common that people confuse the concept of gender and the biological given, because the word gender actually was first used in 1390, but we know the Bible is older than that. So it's important that we know that gender is a social construct, and the culture, religion, education, and other things play a very significant role in this constructing, like how should a woman dress, how should she walk, where is she allowed to participate, what are the acceptable gender roles. These are social constructs. But that I'm female, it's a biological given. Unfortunately, of course, we are in a world of technological realities that are bringing more confusion. I have two friends who I knew them as female friends for a long time, but now both of them have transitioned to being male, and they've gone through the operation. They've really changed. Like now, when I'm talking to them, one was Victoria, now he is Simon. The other one is Jabulani from South Africa, is still Jabulani, but now is male. So that which for a long time was about sex and it was a biological given. Now, of course, technology has started tampering with that as well. So we should always remember the difference and not confuse that. Thank you.
Dr. Nyika, you are muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Reverend Maglopa had a hand up. So I was giving you 30 seconds to ask a question. Okay, it seems like we don't have any more questions. Dr. Chifungo, any last words?
Oh, I just want to say thank you very much for your compliments and your questions. They have also helped me for further research. And I thank you very much for all the ideas which you have given. They have great help to my research. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Yeah, and of course, a very big thank you to all of you that are here. But in fact, I think first thing we should do is clap hands for Dr. Chifungo again. Yeah, and just kind of like a reminder, we will be launching this book on the 18th of September, which is next week, at the Baptist Theological Seminary, when we have the 5th National Theological Conference, which is hosted by the Theological Society of Malawi. And I'd like to remind you, if you haven't paid your membership, please do. The institutional membership is 50,000 kwacha. Professional membership, that's 35,000 kwacha. And this is for individuals. If you're a postgraduate student and a PhD student, or you're already teaching, you have your PhD, it's 35,000 kwacha. For overseas membership, it's $50. And for student membership, and these are undergraduate students, it's 20,000 kwacha. So that's an annual fee that we ask our members to give. And then in terms of the conference itself, the conference is 40,000 kwacha for members, and for non-members, it's 50,000 kwacha. For undergraduate students, it's 35,000 kwacha. And for international delegates, it's 30,000. It's $30, and we shall be having this online as well. And by that I mean it will be those that have paid up for the conference will have access online to the goings on of the conference. And as you know, or maybe you don't, but our theme for this year is one that has to do with a theology of human sexuality. That's what we're looking at, theologies of human sexuality. And when we have very interesting papers, we have about 22 papers that span the whole gamut, from same-sex intimacy in the church, sexual reproductive health, and queer theologies, and all sorts of things like those. And this is going to make for a very interesting discussion. And I'd like to encourage you that you be a part of this. In the week, sometime we'll be sending out the schedule for the conference. And also, if you need to make payments and all, we'll be sending out the numbers and places where you can actually make those payments. Sure, by Tuesday, we'll be able to do that. Yeah, so again, thank you so much for being a part of this. Next week, again, on Sunday, 4:30. At 4:30, we shall have another presentation like this. Right now, we're not really very too sure who it may be, but it may be Dr. Father Blair, or it may be Professor Isabel Apao Piri. Yeah, so I'll let you know. We'll put it on the group, the Theological Society of Malawi, as well as get to you individually in your inboxes. Thank you very much for your time. I don't know if there are any comments, last ones before we close. We already are 2 minutes over time. Okay, I take it there are none. Let me ask, is that a hand up? No, that wasn't a hand up. Okay, let me ask Tandy Soko, if you're still there, if you can close us with a word of prayer. Tandy Soko Dion, I'm sorry.
Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for this time, and we thank you for the words of wisdom that we've listened to, the discussions that we've had, and we pray that you keep us moving forward in all these endeavors. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you again for being
Amen.
here.
Amen.
And we're recording this, so I'll send out
Amen.
the link to the recording later on in the day tomorrow. But thank you so much. God bless you. Have a great whatever is left of the weekend. Bye. God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye.
God
Bye.
bless you too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.